from the Pixie Dust Studio in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Welcome to the I See Hope Empowering Positive Change podcast. I am Lori Lorenz, Human Energy Engineer, and your host for today's episode, Destiny Updates with Wes Hamilton. We are talking about week 17 and pivoting your mindset during COVID-19. Our co-host and featured speaker today is Wes Hamilton, Master Numerologist and Chief Spiritual Officer for Core Passion, Inc. He provides insight, guidance, and spiritual support. He reveals how ancient mathematics connects to timelines, showing us where and when to focus our time and energy. Welcome, Wes.
Hi, Lori. Good to see you on week 17. We've had a busy one. Week 16 was certainly filled with a lot of exciting news. We get to go out and play golf.
Yay!
Yeah, so things are opening up slowly.
Yes. Well, it's spring, and in Minnesota, it kind of comes and goes. Anyway, our weather is kind of up in the air. I'm sorry, I've been inside too long.
Yeah, no kidding. That was good. Good. A little faux pas there. That was good.
We're all getting a little punchy. But pivoting your mindset. This has been a month of mindset.
It has. And a good friend of mine called the other day, just clawing the walls. In numerology, this person has a lot of restless energy and typically just gets to get in the car and go to their lake home whenever they want, and now they can't. And so she was informing me that there's now places you can call in to deal with therapists because you've been in the house too long. So free therapy.
Yay. We're going to need a lot more of that before we're done.
Oh, yeah. And thank goodness I've got a yard that I can manage and take care of. And this is the cleanest my yard has been so far this early in the year.
Yes.
Everything gets raked and tidied up. Even if a leaf falls, I run out and grab it and put it in the waste bin. So I'm keeping busy by tending my land. How's that?
Excellent. I know my squirrels in my neighborhood are getting fatter because there's more pizza crust.
Okay, I didn't know that squirrels thrived on pizza crust, but
that's right. So that's so good for the squirrels, but they're enjoying all of this.
Yeah. Well, after we're done today, I'm going to go over and buy a birdhouse.
Ooh.
I've had one birdhouse that I bought, 25 years ago. It's been an amazing one. It was more of a piece of art. And it finally fell apart as I was cleaning it yesterday. So
no.
Time to buy a new birdhouse.
Yes, I have made bird feeders for my dad. That was one of the things I always did when I got to be in shop class. That was one of my first projects, was building a bird feeder and putting louvers on the side. So when you put it on the post, it is always the leeward side where the birds can sit and get the food out.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah.
There's another business that you haven't even talked about. Do you have those on Etsy, or where do you sell those?
No, that was a while ago, but that could happen again. You never know.
Yeah. That's what shifting our mindset. You might be going back to working with your tools in your hands.
Yes. Well, we've talked about mindset all month.
Yeah.
And I think people have explored the positive mindset, the self-awareness mindset, and now we're really into mastering that mindset and saying, okay, I've got this thing. I've got this positive nugget I can hang on to. So when you've mastered your mindset, how does that implement, and how do things change when you're in that positive mindset?
Well, first thing that happens is the fear goes away, which is really good. Then the frustration sets in. Now that I have a good attitude, what am I going to do next? And that's what I've been working with this last couple of weeks with coaching my folks that have had businesses impacted. And we're looking at threads and patterns that throughout their life, what they've been doing in maybe half a dozen different ways. So when you find the thread of maybe serving other people, maybe teaching other people. I had a great aha yesterday with a new client. Discovered that he had been teaching people throughout his life as he was doing his career. And his career was about building huge entertainment events. And I said, well, what have you done to maybe teach people? And he's like, what? And so he thought about it. And throughout his career, he taught people how to do his business so they'd be great employees and partners. So I said, maybe this new event now is you find a way to teach and do it online. And when this thing clears up, you're going to have.
Well, Wes, that was a surprise.
My light just blew out. Wow.
Well,
that's interesting.
Yes.
Anyway.
So that was such a big idea that it blew the little light's mind.
Wow. Ooh, sound like Batman was here.
And you know, those lights have a very long life. So that means
this light's been around for about 10 years.
Yes. So that means it's time for a change, right?
My mindset and my light needs a change. Yeah.
That was such a good idea. It blew things up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right.
So
yeah, it's if you're frustrated, I would suggest you look at the threads in your life. What's been the theme and the thread? And the way I found this fellow's thread was to look at what numerology calls your realization number. What are you going to be doing throughout your life and you're not really aware of it? And his was the teacher. And it's like, huh. And it made so much sense to him. So now he's at least got a new direction. Doesn't know how he's going to do it yet, but he at least knows what. And we can build on that now that it at least knows what. So yeah, it's looking for the threads in your life. So for your life, what have you been doing most of the time?
For me?
Yeah. What's your thread?
I build things, it seems like a lot. I manifest a lot, but then I do teaching.
Well, and bird feeders.
And bird feeders, yes. I've always made something.
Okay.
But I love collaboration. I love getting a team together. I love having, like, my family does construction projects for fun. So we all get together and, you know, build somebody's driveway or do somebody's roof or make some cabinets or, you know.
Grown-up construction, big stuff.
Well, my dad loves, you know, big tools. If you can get a bobcat involved, I can pretty much guarantee he'll show up. So
okay.
Same with my brothers. But, you know, and then crafting things for cosplay, because my kids and I love to go to science fiction conventions. But, you know, we all kind of cosplay at home now, but that's building all the accessories for a costume like you might see in a movie. So that includes woodworking and metalworking and painting and fabric and makeup and all sorts of things.
Sure. So that's what this month's about. Every week we've been looking at what's our mindset, and most of us have got our mindset into a very fixed pattern because everything's working, we're in a rhythm and a pattern. And then when surprises come, the tsunamis, and everything's washed away that we used to be working with, that's the mindset change. So
right, because you kind of have three choices when you're faced at that crossroads. You have the, okay, do I just wipe it out, give it up, say we're done with this?
Yeah.
Or hang on for dear life and say, if I just hold on a little longer, we'll get past this and I can continue.
Yeah.
Or the third one is, okay, what is the innovation here? What's the new point of view? How can I pick up all my threads and make new fabric out of it?
Yep. So those are the things we've been working with all month, whether we've been aware of it or not. Crisis has caused us to get creative. And as we talked about last week, the month before was teaching us how to be creative, to have more joy in our life. So I wonder how many people remembered they learned how to be creative. When a crisis happens, can I be creative now? Is there any more joy left? So the universe teaches us step by step, and numerology can track that step by step of what's going on and how it's going to happen and when it's going to happen. So we had the creative skills in March. Now we've got our attitude mindset adjustment skills in April, and May is going to be, whoa, explore, expand, and grow into your new mindset. So for some, it'll be oh my God, I'm never ever going to get back to where I was. That's because their mindset's still back there. For others, and there's quite a few now that I see while we're doing our Zoom calls and we're doing our coaching work and so forth, quite a few people, especially in the leadership role, are saying, okay, I'm getting a sense of the direction we got to go, and they're actually implementing it. So some people are folding up their tent and going home, and some people are buying new tents because they're growing. And May is going to be all about how will you expand and grow? How can you use your adjusted new mindset that you've mastered to move forward and be excited with passion and purpose and know full well you're going the right direction. So it's a good one. This is a big one, and this is the pivot week.
Yes. And you know what? It sounds like if it's a realization, this is something that was written into your destiny from the get-go.
Yes.
And you get a chance to actually get a hold of it, or at least a glimmer of it, by embracing it. So if we're flexible, right? And we
working at it.
Yeah, we accept the mission as it's been presented, right?
Right.
This is our week to get with it and kind of release all that resistance we might have, or the no, I'm not going to look kind of denial. And if we go with it, it's not going to be as painful because it sounds like destiny, which means if you don't get the change, something's going to help you change.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that old TV show, Mission Impossible.
Yes. With less smoke.
Yeah. So you can either move forward and take this mission or stay where you are. We'll get somebody else. So yeah, it's this mindset thing has gotten to be really a powerful thing for us to explore this month. We have a mindset, we just don't know it. We have an attitude, other people know it. It's interesting how you reprogram that, I guess those little synapses or whatever is in our brain fire differently. I think programmers probably have a good idea of how to do it on a computer. And now maybe programmers can teach us how to do it sitting at our desk looking for a new direction.
Well, you know, a lot of those programmers that were sitting at the desks are now home and they don't have the old job anymore.
No.
And programmers, when left in a vacuum, get bored easily and they start looking for fun new stuff.
Yes.
So I would imagine some of this renaissance of, you know, new possibilities is going to come out of people being at home, stuck with, you know, their tools of hobby, right?
Right.
That are now going to become tools of production.
Yes.
And we're going to see new stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just fascinating. If someone says, hey, I've got this problem, and someone says, oh, I can help you with that, and they put something together at home, now they have innovation, and they go, huh, I might need that. It's like a bird feeder with wings. The wings are for the wind, to orient the bird feeder, not necessarily to go anywhere. But, you know, things like that, you never know until you get there, right?
Yeah. It's going to be important this week that we at least open up our mind to possibilities. There's so many people, and I'm so blessed to be able to do this for people. So many people contacting me looking for answers in their charts. And it's so interesting to find those threads in their charts and give them some hope that there's another part of your life that you haven't explored yet. Let's take a look at that. So Actually, what's happening is companies are looking at, I work with several leaders and they're looking at, well, if we're going to re-engage in a new direction or a new passion, how can we pull our people together quickly to make that happen? So that's another piece that we've been working with lately. Um, we're actually creating, at least in our minds right now, to create a group that we could have weekly or monthly chats with. And we're thinking of maybe calling it Pivot Your Destiny, because right now, this destiny that's been in place has gotten shaken a little bit. The earth trembled, there's a crack. So we got to find a new way to adjust and to focus. And then just because you've got a new direction, how do you get everybody to get on board with it quickly?
Right. I also have called that the crack in the universe, where things that couldn't happen before now can happen.
Yeah.
And that can be a good thing. One of the things we talked about with, a positive mindset and that pivot was, what are we pivoting to? Yes, there's a destiny, but what is in that destiny? And we were talking earlier about more of a global humanity perspective. Can you
Yeah.
tell us more about that?
Well, yeah, I think we've referred to it quite a bit on these podcasts that this was predicted. We didn't know it was a bug that was coming, but we did know that things were going to change globally with our consciousness back in 2017, because numerology again says time for everybody to learn how to live together and be helpful and take care of the earth. It's a humanitarian energy. And that's a really fun word. And people that volunteer do the energy of humanitarian. But in our day-to-day activities, humanitarian kind of falls by the wayside. That's something you do after work. You go to a food shelf or you volunteer, or, you help people. But how do you do that all day long? And I don't think we were getting it. We were looking at in 2017 about where do we want to go? What's our intention? And in 2018, it was about relationships. Well, who do we want to align with? And how can we support each other? And then in 2019, we said, well, if we're going to go forward and be a humanitarian, let's see how we can bring joy into our life. And Dalai Lama and
Desmond Tutu.
Tutu, yes, wrote a book, the Book of Joy, and did a whole series of podcasts and videos on it. It's like, okay, the consciousness was out there. Joy needs to be the factor that anchors where you're going to go. And so those of us who are exploring and living and creating joy in our life, there's a group that you belong to that we've been working with for years. And I think everybody's at peace within themselves in that group, because we know if we can find joy, everything will shift and get to where we want it to go. So I think our consciousness wasn't quite ready to move very fast on moving forward to being humanitarian. So that's why we have our wake-up call. I still think 2020 is going to be called the year of the awakening, and we're beginning a new renaissance. And it's so interesting. This last few weeks, people have been saying, this thing's real, isn't it? This is real. And we had a good friend of ours pass away day before yesterday, and it wasn't from the bug, but she had been struggling for years with cancer. And she was such a good friend and so close. It felt funny to have that happen. So I had a good friend that I lost in January, and now this other good friend. And I'll tell you, when a good friend dies and leaves, it really messes with my joy for a little while. And then I realize they're in a better spot than I am right now. So yeah, there's a lot going on this year that's going to get our mindset shifted into there's got to be a better way. I got to look for my better way. And if my better way works, I'm going to help other people find their better way. So it's that thing. And this consciousness that Lynn McTaggart works with, and we work with, and many other people, Joe Dispenza works with. If we get to the point where we take that serious, that if you do shift your consciousness, which starts in your mindset, things will get better. It'll get better much quicker than you could have imagined. So,
right. You know, with my work, you think, okay, Lori, you work with technology all day. How do you know joy? I call that tech joy. And I try to get people to the point where they enjoy their technology, and it works so much easier when everybody's in joy. So what I try to teach is joy infusion. So how can you take the joy from over here that you feel, okay, maybe it's your favorite ice cream cone sitting on a sunny porch, and bring that feeling over here to where it might be not as joyful, and then put the two together so you can feel it while you do that other activity, and pretty soon things even out.
Yeah, that's very true. And Abraham Hicks has a lot of those little posts if anybody wants to get a little inspirational message every day. Sign up for Abraham's.
I'll put a link.
Yeah, maybe put a link in there, Abraham Hicks. And today, it was yesterday, Lori pointed out about what you need to do to pivot your mindset. It's like, wow, just what you said. If you're down in the dumps, think of a happy moment, hang on to the happy moment. This down the dumps moment will go away.
Yes.
So that's how you pivot. Just what you talked about.
Right.
Bring the ice cream cone into the computer industry.
Yes. And once you get the hang of it, it's like, well, why didn't someone tell me that sooner? Right? And this is what we're talking about, is finding that joy. Everybody has found a clue, right? And we can bring all our clues together.
Yeah.
And come up with a way that all of us can do that win-win piece. And collaborating a new reality, collaborating a new humanitarian culture, that it sounds so worth it. That's like, double dip ice cream cone.
Yeah. It's really fun to see people like Echo Bodine doing these podcasts weekly now, where they used to do them randomly, helping people. And the Metamorphosis Center is now doing a nightly fireside chat that I'll be on Monday night. Echo is on Sunday night. Go into the metamorphosiscenter.com.
Okay.
And sign up. They've got some of the world leaders in thought and spiritual work as guests on there. So when you get to the point where you're looking for what don't I know and what can I use from what I don't know to go forward, that's a big piece of shifting our mindset.
Yes. And we get to ask ourselves now, if I could do anything, because it's all open now, this is your chance, what you've always been passionate and excited about, what would that be?
Yeah.
And you get to do it, right?
So many people that I've worked with this last month now are looking at what I ask them to do is, well, if you could do whatever you want, like you said, what would your dream be? And then I look in their charts like, has this ever appealed to you? Has that ever appealed to you? It's like, oh yeah, when I was in high school, I used to do that a lot. Or before I got married, that was my joy. That was my hobby. That was what I used to do. Mm-hmm. And when they see that this is a time where they have permission to go back and reignite that fire, they're passionate for something, mm-hmm. There is so much excitement in their eyes. Like, wow, I can do this, and I can make money, and my family will be happy, and I'll have joy again. Mm-hmm. So all the answers are inside of us. I think we talked about it. The Native American said, God gave us a place to find joy, but he hid it where we'd never look. The moral of that story is it's inside of us. It's in our heart.
Nice. Now, right now, with our pandemic, quarantine, COVID-19,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things where we're trying to decide what's essential, what's necessary, what do we absolutely have to have right now and focus on that. Is
Yes.
that something that we can take as a lesson and move it forward?
Good question. Yes. We have gotten so distracted that we get into routines and patterns. And I think, as I was talking a little bit earlier before we started, I realize now I don't need a haircut every 30 days. I can go 90 days easily and maybe longer. But I've gotten into a routine and I've accepted it. And every time I get a haircut, we make the next appointment and that sort of thing. It's like, do I need that or don't I need that? And so this is a great time to really look at what we need or what we want. If we need it, will it change our life? Will it fill us today? If we just want it, would it be fun to explore it and try it? Like maybe a new outfit. Gee, that'd really be fun. Do I need it? No, I got 6 outfits, so I don't need that. I've been looking at lights for my computer. I've been looking at cameras for my computer. This is the newest, greatest camera, available for podcasting. Like, I don't need that. I think it's working now. So there's all these things that marketing does a great job, especially if we're on Amazon or even LinkedIn's got some amazing things. I almost got caught up in the other day. 25 new ideas to become a photographer in your own home without spending more than $100. And this guy's making lights out of toilet paper holders and a flashlight. It's like, whoa, okay, this is cool. Yeah, do we need it or do we want it? And
I would also expand that to say, do we need that in our community? And, like maybe the time I would normally spend, binge watching TV, I could be in the garden and be getting entertainment by seeing progress in my garden. Especially, we're going to run out of content after a certain point.
Yeah, we're finally getting to the point where all we got left is Christmas movies. I want to save those till Christmas.
But it's a good thing to get out and do some gardening. And if we get connected back with Mother Earth, then our heart realizes the choices we make really impact Mother Earth and the animals.
One of the things one of my clients is doing right now, and sounds like a great idea, is going through her list of people she knows or hasn't talked to for years and sending out 3 postcards or notes a day. And she said, it's amazing how much fun it is to have them call or send back something or text. Like, God, it's so good to hear from you. I haven't heard from you for years. Like, rebuilding that humanitarian connection that we've had. I've got probably 1,000 people in my database. I don't even know if they're around anymore. I know one of them left on Monday.
Oh no.
Yeah, Linda, she passed away.
Well, that's just going to take a little bit more effort. Maybe later when, the Orapalooza is back up, you can find someone who might open up a line.
It's true. Echo's prediction from her intuition says the Orapalooza will be back available on June 19th.
Nice.
So now we'll get to see how accurate intuition is during a crisis.
Yes. Well, it's everybody in Minnesota worries about when they'll see green grass and when the ice is out.
Right. And after last night's little rain we had, my grass grew an inch.
Oh,
I was so excited. It just wanted some water. It was ready. Yep.
Well, I think the people are ready for global humanity. They just needed a break to see what that might look like.
And I'm really curious. I haven't done any research on it, but are countries still at war? Are they fighting each other? I haven't seen any news about people bombing each other. Well, I don't think we should be fighting now because we might be dying in a week.
Well, anger is hard to get rid of, and so forth, and
Yeah.
it has to have something joyful to replace it. Um, it's hard to say. Depends on where you're at and where the news goes. But right now, it's more of yelling at each other rather than shooting each other. It seems.
Yeah, have you seen that new, I guess, movement called Howling at the Moon?
No, tell me.
Well, it's on Facebook everywhere. When you're frustrated, go out at night and howl at the moon.
All right, that explains. What is that? What's going on?
Yeah.
Now, NPR, or Minnesota Public Radio, had a stand outside and sing Lean on Me at 6 p.m. yesterday.
Oh,
So
okay.
everybody in the state of Minnesota who was listening to their, dial in for NPR heard the same song at the same
Okay.
time.
Wow.
I'm shy. I sung in my kitchen.
Yeah. I saw a really fun thing the other day, probably on Facebook. Um, there was maybe 50, 40 maybe, musicians around the world singing the same song that were all videoed. They were doing it all at once. It's like, oh my God, how do they do that? They were in every country
Nice.
and they were all playing different instruments. And it was the same song. It was amazing to see how that had been put together. And I'm guessing that there's probably an app for that. Or
Well, yes, there are ways to do that. Music production is an art form.
Mm,
And I think our music community, being creative to start with, has really stepped up and said, well, how many ways can we bring music and joy to people when we don't have that stage to stand on?
yeah. I saw a little article this morning on one of my news feeds that says they're starting to see that our brains are getting a little fuzzy and we're getting a little crabby from doing too much Zoom time.
Well, that's my life. Even before COVID was video conferencing and remote work, and my programmers may not be in the same time zone as me, et cetera.
Mm,
So I didn't see a difference in that other than there are more things available, with increased demand. If I
right.
want, I can add a llama to my Zoom call.
Okay.
Yes, or different screens, like we have these backgrounds now, all
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah. I'm sitting in
innovation,
this beautiful living room that looks just about like my real room, almost.
almost.
I don't have a fireplace. That's why I like this one.
Yes, that is nice.
So, what else did we say we wanted to bring up this week now that we're closing the door on mindset and opening the door on possibilities next week?
Yes. And one of the pieces when we pivot our mindset, we're doing the, very active being present, being very mindful of where we're at, and looking to our realization, what have always been aiming for,
Yeah,
and then exploring those possibilities and then allowing them to happen. And intention is a big piece of pivoting your destiny.
it is. It's mindset plus intention,
Mhm.
positive mindset. Let me back up. Positive mindset plus intention, fueled by passion, creates success.
Mhm.
So we'll have to look at how we can use that formula to move through May, because May is going to be, for some people, driving on an icy road with high winds.
Well, part of it too is when you have your intention, you have your destination, the vision of what you want. And you go, well, maybe instead of this icy road, I get on the train.
That would
You know?
work.
So
Yep.
it
Go
doesn't
along.
look like how you thought it was going to look.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to go what feels right.
Right.
And for me, I was a planner, on time, check all the boxes. And I let that go. So now I'm going with the flow. So I'm in my joy seat, right? I'm on the train.
Yeah.
Wherever the universe wants to take me, I said, I'm ready. I can be prepared instead of controlling. So wherever we end up, I want to see what I have to work with and then really dig in.
And that's good to bring that up because that's in numerology, the energy of a number 8. And number 8 is one of your main energies you're using in this lifetime. And we are in a number 8 week here. So getting people to follow what you just said, let go of the reins, let the horse find its way home. It's gonna get there. It might not go the way you thought, but it knows best.
Yes.
And that's how the energy of the universe is. We can have our intention. And for those who have not paid attention to the energy of intention and how it works with the consciousness and what they call the field of energy, I'd really suggest you do some reading on that with Lynn McTaggart and Joe Dispenza and Abraham Hicks and who else is doing that? I can't remember some of the authors, but we're coming into the consciousness, and we live in the 3rd dimension. Consciousness, becoming aware of that, is in the 4th dimension, and many people who spend a good share of their day or their life exploring their own personal self-development realize consciousness is the next place we need to go to create our reality. And consciousness applied from the 4th dimension into the 3rd dimension is rockin' successful.
Yay. I'll take that. On that happy note, pivoting our mindset to pick up, the helpful hints from the consciousness dimension might be our doorway into global humanity. What do you think?
Bingo. Bingo.
Yay.
Yep.
That gives me hope, Wes.
4th dimension is where our consciousness is much more powerful and influential. And some of the people that I work with that are more advanced, we're actually accessing the 5th dimension. And that is where the energy of, I'll call it spirit, influences consciousness, which influences our everyday life. So working with people to get them to see we are now at a point where we're bouncing and maybe switching between 3rd, 4th, and 5th dimension consciousness.
Oh, that gives me a visual, Wes, of people on a trampoline.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's exactly.
We're jumping. The bar is up there. We just got to get to the bar. And once we grab that bar, now we can climb up to the next level.
Yeah.
So,
if you quit jumping, you'll never get there. Yeah.
Right. So you just got to jump a little higher. And we've got a trampoline right now with this made bump. Maybe we can just get there.
We're going to need to do that as we go through these next several years to become humanitarian. We're going to have to become more aware that this consciousness thing is real and that we have the ability to change whenever we want. Some people call them it a goal, and a goal, I believe, is an action item that we want to do to accomplish something. And intention is to reach for our dream but not know how, and set up a series of goals to explore that dream. So that's what we'll be working with the rest of this year and the rest of this decade.
Nice. Well, the good news is, since it's destiny, this is the right time to do it. It's the easiest time. Yeah,
and the word destiny means it's not set in stone, but the energy of your destiny is constantly guiding you. So when you learn that, what your destiny is, and you look in the past and you see, it does kind of make sense. It starts to validate those ideas you get that maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that.
Right. Now, for people who want a reading,
yes,
or maybe you have an app, What's My Destiny, so they can calculate it for themselves.
Yep.
And that's available for tablets on the iPad or like any of the Android tablets.
Yes.
It's called What's My Destiny.
What's My Destiny?
Yep. And then weshamilton.com has a link to your readings.
Get your own personalized reading with the chart, and then I spend an hour, helping people find their new way so they can pivot quicker. And I'm really thinking about doing a online class to help people understand how that app works that you helped me create. So
Excellent.
yeah, there's good things going on. We're looking at putting together some low entry financial ways for people to learn their destiny and get on track. And we have that intentional class. We're looking at redesigning that so we can get more people engaged in moving forward. So we got some really good things with our mindset that we do not have to do live all the time in our home or in a rented hall.
Yes, you have been thinking about that for years now, and you didn't know how it was going to show up. And of course, it's a little bit different.
We needed a crisis and we needed some new software.
Yes, that all helps. It all adds up.
Yep.
Well, Wes, this has so many things that brought me hope. And I believe what we're talking about with the pivoting your mindset will really empower positive change, because people now can go look for it and say, I choose you.
Yes. So let's encourage everyone to listen next week as we step into exploring possibilities.
Excellent. Thank you so much and have a great week.
Thanks. You too.
You have been listening to the I See Hope podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Visit us online at iseehope.world, where you can subscribe to our podcast, our newsletter, read blog articles, and so much more.